Welcome back to the couch. I'm Des.
And I'm Jay.
And this is our Wonder Woman review. Coming up next.
On the couch with those two bald guys.
Wonder Woman is a 2017 superhero film based on characters from DC Comics. It's the fourth installment in the DC movie franchise. It was directed by Patty Jenkins from a screenplay by Alan Heinberg and stars Gal Gadot in the title role with Chris Pine and David Thewlis.
After American spy Steve Trevor crash lands on the Isle of Themyscira, Amazon Princess Diana sets out to stop World War I, believing the conflict was started by Ares, the god of war, a longtime enemy of the Amazons. So we are talking about Wonder Woman, and I thought I had seen this at least a couple times already, but going through it this time, I realized I think this may only be the second time I've ever seen this movie. Bought it the day it came out, and then I don't think I've watched it since. Towards the beginning of the film, we're pretty much brought to the island of Themyscira, where the Amazons live. That's where Wonder Woman Diana grew up. And so we're thrown into that world right away, and we got a young Diana. But before we get into the story, we get some really amazing shots of the island. It looks gorgeous. It absolutely looks gorgeous.
I agree.
And not just the look of the island itself, but just the sweeping shots we get. Everything is just really well put together to make some really amazing shots. And they make you feel like you're on the island.
Yeah.
Like you want to go there.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah, and not just because all the pretty women either, but I mean, you want to live there. Like I could sit on that beach and just stare at the ocean the rest of my life. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, the first time we see Themyscira, to me, it kind of reminded me of the first time we saw Wakanda in Black Panther.
Oh, okay.
It kind of reminded me of like just seeing what this world, because we've never seen this world ever.
That's a good comparison.
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So I think that's the same feeling that I had when I first saw Themyscira, basically.
Yeah, something new.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
new, something fresh. And the pretty ladies doesn't hurt either.
There are a couple stories, I guess, briefly being told, because before we get to the island, we do actually have a shot that happens chronologically after the events of Batman versus Superman. There's some communication between Diana and Bruce Wayne. So that's where it starts, and then she kind of says, this is my story.
Yeah.
And then we go back. So we've got little young Diana, and we're just watching her grow up. We find out she's the princess of the island because she's the daughter of the queen, Hippolyta. And there's a scene really early on where she's telling young Diana the story of creation, Zeus and the gods.
Yeah.
The gods ruled the earth. Zeus created beings over which the gods would rule. Beings born in his image, fair and good, strong and passionate. He called his creation man, but Zeus's son grew envious of mankind and sought to corrupt his father's creation. This was Ares, the god of war.
And the visuals, once again, there are just absolutely stunning. So visually, the film has a lot going for it from the beginning.
Then we get into the story, and I thought the storytelling in this movie was really good. Now, the pacing in the film itself, I thought was a little bit, it started off really good, and I think we went on a nice little steady ascent, and then I think it kind of stagnated a little bit, and then we got back on track to where we needed to go. So all in all, I'd say the pacing in this film was good, but not necessarily great. What'd you think about it?
Yeah, it doesn't have scattershot pacing problems like Suicide Squad does. I mean, it doesn't have anything like that. So I think the pacing's fine. The movie works fine, but I wouldn't say the pacing is what I would expect, though. So it's not normal, quote unquote, in that way, because the story really doesn't kick off for the real meat of the story until they go on their mission when Diana has left the island.
Right.
She's with Steve Trevor. They
Exactly.
they have a plan to go infiltrate and try to stop the war. And I thought about that when I was watching it this time, and I paused and I looked at the time, and it was about 45% of the way through the film. And I thought, wow, that's kind of weird that we're this far time-wise into the film and we're just now kicking off the main part of the story. So in that way, I think it's a little odd, but it's not off-putting. It doesn't.
No, you're right.
It doesn't
Yeah.
take away from my enjoyment of the film like Suicide Squad does. A friend of ours, Jeff from Did You See That One? He mentioned that he feels that this is more Steve Trevor's movie. If you look at the way the story plays out, or the way the script is written, it's really more his story. He's the main protagonist. And so I watched it this time with that in mind. And I think he may have a point, because if you excise the beginning of the film and just start it where Steve Trevor crashes his plane into the island, You could edit the film in a way where Diana really, because she is standing by his side in a lot of scenes, and so she's kind of just not riding his coattails, but learning from him, I guess, in a way, until she wants to go her own way, of course, until she doesn't like what he's doing, right?
Exactly.
That's okay. But yeah, you could edit this film as it's written to be him, like he's the hero, because it is almost that way already. And I hadn't noticed that the first time, but when he pointed out, it's true, it doesn't change the movie, my enjoyment one way or the other, but I think he's right.
I can see it at that point.
So you saw it as well?
Yeah, I mean, I can't really push back against it too much, but you know, like you say, it didn't really change the way I viewed the film too much. But I probably wouldn't have noticed it had he not pointed that out. So yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a valid point.
Yeah, I think it's valid too.
On the casting of Wonder Woman herself, at the time, there was quite a bit of, I wouldn't say there was the backlash that you had like in the Heath Ledger Joker situation where everybody was saying, no, we don't want that.
Or even Ben Affleck and Batman.
Yeah, you didn't have that necessarily to that extreme. But there definitely was some pushback because she was just the girl from the Fast and the Furious at the time. And then she wasn't like muscly enough. And that still was a complaint when the movie came out, that she was too thin or whatever. I had never seen, and still haven't seen, any of the Fast and the Furious films, so I had never seen her in anything else. Gal Gadot, of course.
Yes.
But I thought the look was fine. In the comics, there is a version of Wonder Woman where they slimmed her down and she's smaller and more agile. She's more almost Black Widow-ish. I think she even has a baton and everything. So I think if you take that more agile, spy-like body type, and then bring it to the Amazon. I mean, maybe some people feel that's a contradiction because Amazon's supposed to be big. But I mean, if you take it to that lore and you mix the two, which is kind of what I think they did. I don't know. To me, it works. It didn't bother me, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think it works perfect in this world because, you know, like in the beginning of the film, you get to see the Amazons training and how they prepare for whatever battles they may have to encounter. I think Gal Gadot, she fits the perfect Wonder Woman's athletic prowess. You know what I mean?
That's a good way to
Because you
put
needed
it.
to be more athletic to be in that particular world, so it fit more. So I think it works perfect. Like you said, I didn't have a problem with it at all.
Yeah, I thought her casting was great. She's not like the greatest actress in the world or anything, but she's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. There's some scenes in the film where I felt she evoked some real genuine emotion.
Yeah, she did a good job at that.
Yeah, and then there were some other scenes where I thought her line delivery was kind of bad and stuff. So she's mixed, but she's fine. Like, she's good.
I thought she struck a perfect balance of what we needed from this movie.
So casting all around for her, pretty good. And I thought they got her personality pretty well done.
Yeah,
what'd you think of her?
I really enjoyed watching Diana's naivete and how charming she could be at times and how brutally honest she can also be. There was a couple of scenes where she pretty much just gets into the general's face and confronts him on how could you let these kind of things happen? How do you call yourself a leader?
I am not with you. You would knowingly sacrifice all those lives as if they mean less than yours.
Diana, let's talk
as
about this
if they
outside.
mean nothing. Where I come from,
Diana.
generals don't hide in their offices like cowards.
That's enough.
They fight alongside their soldiers. They die with them on the battlefield.
That's enough.
You
My
should be
apologies.
ashamed.
My
You
apologies.
should be ashamed.
Diana.
All of you should
Diana.
be ashamed.
Because she is naive about the world, she doesn't have any of the hang-ups about, oh, you don't talk to a certain person
Yeah, exactly.
that way because they're in this position or they're a man or a woman or whatever it may be.
She didn't care.
She doesn't care. And so the way it's portrayed and the way it's written and everything is actually very well done.
Yeah, and it was fun. I liked it. I mean, sometimes you got to have that. It was cool to see a world where you see someone calling out the BS. And that's kind of what she did.
They've struck a good balance with her character, I think. She can be fearless and courageous and just like, I'm going to go kick some butt when she needs to. She doesn't lose her vulnerability just because she can be tough in moments, and she needs to be tough, and I wouldn't want the character any other way. But you need to balance that out with some lighter moments, some softer moments, again, vulnerable moments, and she has those. So, and then comedic moments. She's got almost every moment in a character you would want. So that's what I mean. They really struck a good balance with her, I felt. And honestly, Chris Pine as Steve Trevor, same thing.
Yeah.
He did a great job as the character. He's likable. He definitely is courageous. He's a spy. He's trying to end this war. He puts himself ultimately in front of the lives of everybody else, in front of a woman he just met and is amazing and he loves. And he's like, well, that would have been great, but it's not as important as what I need to do.
It's not the big picture right now.
Yeah, so they wrote his character very well, and he was very well acted and portrayed by Chris Pine. So our villain this time is Ares, the god of war. What'd you think?
Well, it was an interesting character. I don't think for me they did a good enough job of explaining what motivates Ares beyond just being the generic god of war.
I think that that's about as deep as it goes, because we're talking about the old mythological gods, and so there was just the god of this particular thing, the goddess of this particular thing, love, whatever. For better or worse, it's true to, the old gods mythology. Well, and I don't think Ares is like the best villain or anything. I just feel like he certainly has more depth to him in this movie than certain other villains that I've seen in previous films, not just DC, but just hero films, superhero films in general. But if you're going to compare him to someone like Thanos, I think, yes, Thanos is a much better fleshed out character. Ares for me worked for this film. It was fine. Toward the end, I thought he was a little goofy looking with the mustache. The mustache is fine when he's in his, British Englishman persona.
Right.
David Thewlis is a great actor. I've seen him in other things. He's really good. And when he's delivering dialogue, that speech he's got basically at the end when he's trying to convince Diana to follow his side, he's great. And like the voice and his inflections and just the way he delivers the dialogue is fantastic.
I am not the god of war, Diana. I am the god of truth. Mankind stole this world from us. All these years I have struggled alone, whispering into their ears ideas, inspiration for formulas, weapons. But I don't make them use them.
But then once he kind of makes the helmet out of the metals, and that was cool too, by the way. So he's gathering all the metals to make an armor suit out, just on the spot. I thought that was cool. But I thought, could he grow a beard, or could we get just have the mustache disappear now that the helmet? Because when you're looking at him with the helmet and the mustache, it's just kind of it throws me out of the film a little bit. It's really too goofy, and I thought the helmet should have stayed on. This is really kind of trivial stuff, but I would have enjoyed the film more like once that helmet was on, keep it on, because it gets knocked off and then he's in this big, huge armor suit. It's like there's just this goofy British guy coming out of the top of this armor now. They should have just done something better with this look once he
it's like I'm scared of you from the neck down, but from here up, you're just a goofy guy.
We're going to skip ahead real quick as we're talking about Ares to the end battle, because it's Diana versus Ares, and it's pretty much a CG battle.
Yes.
And I felt like I wish that would have been handled a little better. But I will give them credit because at least it is intercut with what's going on with Steve Trevor. Like there's other major things going on. What's going on with him and that group of people, which we haven't even brought up, the band of soldiers he's put together.
Yeah, that picture.
Yeah, so we're kind of going all over the place, but let's go back to the beginning here real quick. So when Bruce Wayne is talking with Diana via email, she's so excited because he's found the original picture that you see for the first time in Batman vs. Superman. Well, we get to actually see that picture come to be in this movie, which I thought was a pretty cool moment.
Yeah, that's some of the things that they did in this film that I really enjoyed. I liked how they tied the events that happened in movies previous to this one. Not only that, but they also tied it into World War I in general. I mean, you don't really get to see too much World War I stuff in films. It's pretty much every war except World War I.
So originally she was World War II, but they went World War I because of Captain America. Because Captain America, the movie, had already come out. So they didn't want to just copy because it kind of a similar story. So they went World War I, but I think that actually ended up being a really good thing.
Yeah, that was a plus.
Because like you said, it's more unique. We've seen the Nazis and all that Nazi Germany a million times. We haven't really gone back to the First World War. But yeah, let's flip back to Ares again. So yeah, it was good that they had the Steve Trevor and his band of ruffians. They had a purpose. They were going to get rid of that poison that was going to kill millions. And so he sacrifices himself. So I actually was more engaged what was going on with Steve Trevor. So this lends to Jeff's point.
Exactly.
I was more engaged what was going on with him than I was with her. But I don't think just because the script was that way. It was also because I'm seeing another CG battle again. And I've seen that a million times. Whereas what's going on with Steve Trevor and his guys is something, oh, okay, let's see where this is going to go. I haven't necessarily seen what's going to happen here a million times.
And you know what? Also, there was no CG really in the film. I mean, I guess you could say like how she blocks the bullets here and there. You can say that, but there's no really major CG until that point into the film. So that could kind of, be a little jarring once you get to that point. Now, all of a sudden, there's this big CG battle, and we haven't really had much of that prior.
Yeah, there's CG in, like, for example, like, one of the best scenes in the film, I think, is toward the beginning on the island where they're just showing the Amazons training and fighting and how skilled they are and what kind of moves they can do.
Yeah.
You can tell there's CG in there.
But nothing major.
But yeah, exactly. It's interwoven in a way that it's just a complete package, whereas when you get to the moment you're talking about Ares, it
definitely,
it just feels like, whoa, we just started playing a video game all of a sudden. What happened?
Yeah.
So that, yeah, I prefer that not to be that way. So maybe a better ending could have been worked out.
Yeah, I think they could have cleaned it up a little
Yeah.
bit, but it wasn't
It's not a
terrible.
bad ending.
Right.
Though. So we haven't really talked about any key scenes that have stuck out to us. So I'm going to just mention my favorite, and it's more than one scene. It's actually a whole sequence of a bunch of scenes. But it's from the moment they go to the front line to when they end up saving the little town of Veld. So that whole segment where we get this character moment, like we were mentioning earlier, where she's going to do what she has to do,
Yeah.
forget about etiquette or what may be, what you may think is the right thing to do. I'm going to do what I think is right. It's going to supersede. And she just does it. And that works for this
Yeah,
character.
and I'm also more awesome than you are, so
Right.
I'm going to show you.
Precisely. So, but there's the no man's land or no man's zone or whatever they call it.
No
Because
man's land, you had it
and
right.
So I think they said they've maybe gone an inch or two in a year. They can't move forward because of all the fire. So she decides, this is our Clark Kent opening up his shirt for the first time in the Dawn of Superman,
Yeah.
showing you the S moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, you get to see him as Superman. This is that moment. So she sheds off the cloak she's got. She's in full Wonder Woman gear with the sword and the shield and the lasso and everything. And then she just goes into the enemy fire.
Diana!
So we got bullets flying everywhere, making lots of cool colors, and the way the scenes are set up, just everything about how she, from the character moments when she drops the cloak and is like, I'm Wonder Woman, to where the cameras are put, especially the far off angle you get where she first kneels down and you're getting that big stream of almost red bullets flying at her. That's my favorite shot of the whole thing, I think. But just from the moment she gets out of the trenches till we get into Veld, and everything she does there, flying around and jumping up onto that tower to kill the sniper and save the town. I just thought I'd mention it because I like everything about it, and it's not just the frontline scene. It keeps going into the Veld scenes. What are your thoughts?
Well, I thought it was a fun sequence. There was a couple of moments in there, like you mentioned. It was kind of like that Superman moment where he first opens up and shows the S on the chest, and you finally see her in the full Wonder Woman get up for the first time. That would have been a perfect spot to play that awesome Wonder Woman theme music. So I felt like they missed an opportunity right there. And there's a part during the No Man's Land where she's taking all this incoming fire, marching towards these machine guns that are shooting off rapid fire towards her, and she takes no damage, none whatsoever. I don't think she would have been affected or hurt or even killed by any of it. I think she would have shrugged it all off, but I do believe she would have taken some kind of damage at that point. She would have got shot in the thigh, or her shoulders and biceps were all exposed. She would have got hit at a certain point. So, that kind of took me out for a second. Not long. It's not horrible. But, there was a couple of problems for me. It's a good sequence, like I said. I agree with you mostly.
I think what made it so I could gloss over it was there is a scene or two where they show you how far away the fire is actually coming from. You're watching the fire kind of fly everywhere. And it's possible because she does get down and she leans her head, because I was wondering about her head's up, and I'm like, put your head down.
Yeah,
and she does actually put her head down and crouch down. So I think that saved it for me, but it crossed my mind, and it probably shouldn't have. It would have been nice to get a nick on the shoulder or something.
That's really what all I'm
Yeah.
saying. She should have got some kind of damage, some kind of collateral damage, is the least. Not saying that it would have affected her or stopped her forward momentum or progress or any of that stuff. But that's just that one small in a bubble section. But after that, there's great moments after, Steve Trevor's little band of brothers or whatever. I don't know what you call them. But they found a way to tie into some of Diana's Amazon early training where they did the shield thing. And she kind of jumped up into the big building and took out everybody there. There's great moments after that fact. So, I think that kind of made up for the little nitpicky stuff that I saw initially.
So Diana's mission, really, what's driving her, is she thinks if she kills Ares, that it will end all war for mankind, and humans can finally be at peace again, and we can move forward without Ares, trouble and meddling and everything.
Right.
She thinks she's pinpointed who Ares is in human form. This was kind of a mini controversial moment, I remember now, where she actually runs him through with a sword and kills him.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember at the time there was a tiny bit of backlash or feedback, I guess if you want to look at it, as Wonder Woman, would she really run someone through with a sword like that? It's that whole, would a hero really kill argument.
To her, he's not really a human. So, I mean, you can't look at it like she killed the guy.
But she also was killing people. This is war. I mean, she did kill some men out on the front lines.
Yeah.
So it's perfectly appropriate to me to have her run him through it, especially if she thinks that's going to end all war forever.
She thinks she's cutting the head off the snake. So,
Right.
of course.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't she cut the head off the snake?
So I thought it was good that we have a Wonder Woman that is willing to do what needs to be done to save everybody. So that worked for me. Right around that time is when she realizes, hey, I killed him. Now what? It didn't actually do anything. And right around that time is when we get one of probably the best moments of dialogue about Steve Trevor trying to explain to her, you can't just blame one person or one group of people or whatever it is for all of the world's problems. It takes,
it's more complicated.
Yeah, it's much more complicated. You need to understand that you've walked into a very complex world, not just, I wish it was black and white, like evil, good, and we could see all the evil people and all the good people and it was easy. Of course, we all kind of wish that would be easier, but it's not, and you need to understand this is the world you've walked into, whether we all like it or don't like it. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
My mother was right. She said the world of men do not deserve you. They don't deserve our help, Steve.
It's not about deserve. It's not. Maybe we don't. But it's not about that. It's about what you believe. You don't think I get it after what I've seen out there? You don't think I wish I could tell you that it was one bad guy to blame? It's not. We're all to blame.
I really like it. That's really well done, really good moment in the film.
Yeah, Chris Pine killed it in that scene. So, I think we're coming to the end. Is there any last parting shots you got? Anything you want to mention that we didn't cover?
Yeah, actually, it's not really the movie itself, but it's another visual thing, which this movie has cool visual things in spades. The end credits, when the end credits start to roll, we do get the Wonder Woman theme maybe twice, I think, throughout the movie, but I noticed it wasn't the full, there's instruments missing or stripped out or something, because it's missing that driving boom, 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 boom that we get from BVS, which I missed. And we finally get it when the credits roll. We get the full theme and some great visuals where they take certain scenes from the film and they kind of do cell shading and some other cool color effects and shading and cartoon-like effects over it. And I genuinely thought that was very, very well done and just really cool to look at, something new and different in our world of CG. We did finally get that theme at the same time. So
unfortunately, the movie was over.
Yeah, so it's not part of the movie, either the credits or the particular part of this theme, but I thought it was cool that at least we got it to go out on. It was a really cool high note to end on. At least we got it there. Okay, Des, so what'd you think about Wonder Woman?
Wonder Woman was a pretty fun ride. I think it was fairly well paced. It was to me, it was more of a hero's journey / fish out of water tale. There's a lot of good in this film, and then there's a little bit of not so good, but there's nothing that's just outright bad. One thing that I was a little disappointed in was that Wonder Woman herself never really faced any type of insurmountable odds. There was never a moment in the film where I felt like, how is she going to get out of this predicament? How is she going to rise above and overcome? There was none of that, and maybe that this film wasn't designed to do that, and maybe we get more of that in Wonder Woman 1984. So with all that being said, I think I'd have to give Wonder Woman 4 out of 5 nice shiny bald heads. So what do you think, Jay?
Wonder Woman is a straightforward adventure film that I really enjoyed. It's got great music, it's got really entertaining and well done action sequences, and it's got really fun characters that are engaging, even if some of them are a little underdeveloped. I'm thinking mainly of the band of soldiers that are following Steve Trevor. But yeah, other than that, not much negative to say about it. It's a really fun film, really enjoyed it. I would give it a solid 3 out of 5 shiny bald heads. That was our Wonder Woman review. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll be back next time with Justice League.
So join us for that, right here on this couch.
In the last 2 episodes of On the Couch, we reviewed Suicide Squad and Aquaman. So if you missed it, now's a great time to check it out. If you enjoy what we're doing, please hit that like button and subscribe to receive alerts when new videos are posted. Don't forget to click the bell icon. Thanks, we really appreciate you.